wanted to talk to you about being a content creator and on independent media, especially being a Black content creator. First, I want to give you your flowers because one of the first people who I saw in left independent media, besides you, was also Nico House, right? To be able to buck the system and say, absolutely not, we're going to go in a way that's different than what the others have, because we've been down this road and we're not going to go, has been an inspiration to people like myself. I know those of us at RBN, my sister Savvy Sabs. There's many of us that have been looking at people like you and Nico House, as prolific in pushing, a space for us to be able to tell our own stories with our own type of anecdotal experience while living within the empire. And I think it is important that our voices, because people will talk about, oh, that's a liberal thing, representation. It's like it's not completely a liberal thing, because you need to have people who have that experience to be able to convey what is really going on within the empire. And I think you've brought levity as well as grace to it. And I just want to thank you for that, because, we may have disagreements on, a couple of things, because not everybody agrees on everything, but you're honest, right? And you're honest, and I'm gonna be honest with you with this one. You're literally like one of the most tactful people in independent media, period. Because I'm just like, God, she has the patience of a saint. And so I just want to thank you for your contributions to independent media, especially, while being unapologetically Black. So I appreciate it.
I appreciate you saying that. It's very kind of you to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my question is, do you think that there is a more of a silencing of our voice, more, especially on different various platforms, right?
Yes. I think that it's because I don't know. You can think of a lot of different reasons, more benign and less benign, but I don't think that there's the same amount of respect that is accorded to Black content creators as opposed to others. Like, for example, I really like Joshua Citarella. It's not his fault. I went on his show. I think it's great. But he just got a write-up in New the New Yorker, for a podcast that's been going for like 8 months or something like that, maybe coming up on a year. And they very quickly, there was also a write-up of like, what's his name? Adam Friedland, who I also like and think is funny. Like, this isn't shade, and he's talented, and you can make arguments about more for Adam Friedland because he was from such a famous podcast, and like, it makes a little bit more sense. But Joshua Citarella, you're not going to see a write-up of other kinds of content creators. And I would argue someone like Crystal Ball is much more famous and makes much more of a splash on the left. And you're not going to see New York Magazine do a glowing story about like what's going on the left, because the narrative around like the Joe Rogan of the left, it's like it's very male and it's very white. And you're not going to see, how long has Katie Halper been in this game? You're not going to see a write-up about Abby Martin. You're not going to see a write-up about Ronnie Collick. You're not going to see a write-up about me. There was a Black woman at Teen Vogue who was trying to write a piece on me, just like there were many pieces written about Simone Sanders when she was national press secretary for Bernie Sanders. And it got killed. We did like 3 long interviews in the summer of 2020. And then she had to call me very sad and apologetic, saying that they killed her story. So for a whole mix of reasons, in terms of your substance and politics and because of your identity, I just don't think that if you don't fit the narrative scope of what the mainstream wants to cover and how they want to package you, then you're not going to get the same sort of notoriety. And then within the left, I think that you can be like a sort of radio voiced white guy, and everyone takes your opinions as authority. And when you have huge mistakes, like being wrong on force the vote, like there's no credibility hit for people like Sam Seder, who I think it's not the be all end all that they were wrong about that, but it would be nice if there was some accountability. And if those of us who have shown more insight were sort of rewarded for that. So you just have to, I mean, that just is the way the world is. But I would say when I had a platform at Rising, it was very important to me to bring Sabby on and to bring Nick on and to bring people on when I could, because I know that I was given that opportunity by, rest in peace, Michael Brooks, who was one of the few sort of folks on the left who I thought genuinely saw and treated Black people as intellectually equal and having something to offer, and had a pattern of bringing new folks on the show. It wasn't all about like who already had clout and but was willing to bring new folks. He brought me on. He brought Malika Jabali on. Like, he was reading what people were writing in lefty papers and looking for good ideas and having folks on his show and giving folks a platform. And I tried to do that when I had the platform that I had and with what I have left. But that is not always an offering that's extended. I think we do have to prove ourselves harder. I mean, like, look at how huge Sabby is. Like, look at what she's built for herself over the course of the last like year or two. And I don't hear her. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
No.
I missed it. But has she been invited on Majority Report?
No, but she definitely should be.
Like, has
she's
she
never been invited on
the Young Turks?
None. No. There's the race aspect, because I'm gonna give you a very short example. I remember where I had on Afeni, our sister, I had her on, and before we went live, I had on an outfit just like this, but I had on a tie as well. And she goes, "Why are you dressed up?" And I said, "Because as a Black man, if I'm not dressed up, I don't get taken as seriously as somebody who's white." And she goes, "Oh yeah, you're right about that. It's true."
Yeah, people want to say that stuff doesn't matter, but it does. You said that I am tactful. I don't especially want to be tactful, and people in my real life would like laugh at the idea that I don't have a temper or whatever. But like, it's strategic. I did not yell at Sam Seder in our conversation about force the vote, but he got upset about internet comments afterward where people were telling him that he had quote unquote lost the quote unquote debate, and accused me of like screaming at him for 2 hours. Like, you can't win for losing. So like, yeah, you can't, I'm fired. And the narrative is that it's because I rolled my eyes. Well, what's his name is saying that you should kill homeless people in the air, and that doesn't get you fired. Robbie said, "Fuck you," and threw a pencil across the room, and it didn't get him fired. Or he didn't say fuck you. He said, "I don't give a fuck," and threw a pencil around across the room. So, people can cherry pick the examples they want to pick, but you're having any kind of emotional response will be weaponized against you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would argue, particularly if you are Black, like, what's his name? Matt Taibbi said I was fired because I was unprofessional. The free speech hero of the left wrote a piece when I was fired saying I basically deserved it because I was so unprofessional.
I'm going to emulate your tactfulness, and I'm not going to say exactly what I want to say. But the funny thing about that is every accusation is a confession.
It often is the case, but that's neither here nor there. I'm hoping Matt Taibbi will come back from his Rumspringa on the dark side and realize that he should be a reporter again with some credibility. The door is open to everybody, as far as I'm concerned, to get it right. But I do look at Sabby in particular because you can have plausible deniability if I don't invite this person or that person on because they're not big enough or blah blah blah. But Sabby is really impressed. Like, it's very impressive, and you know, at a certain point, and you watch the kind of guests, you know, they have all kinds of people on from nowhere and they never heard of, and
Even
like,
me. Yeah.
no, but you know, I think it's a real big tell when particular, like there's some of these shows where there's a real like subtext to who they'll have on and like who they think is like legitimate to have on. When Nick came on Rising, he lit it up. He lit Robbie up.
I know, it was great.
And Robbie was like I would bring him up again to come on, and everyone was like, he was not wanting to go toe to toe with Nick.
Oh.
Like, I would suggest him, and like he would like magically not make it to the top of the segment list because he did an amazing job. And the audience loved him. The segment did well. Like if capitalism were real, if we just follow the markets and let the markets talk, we would have had him on all the time because it would have been an easy decision. It made money for the company, but that's not how it works.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even getting to the point where like, and so here's something a lot of people don't know is that I will email people to come on. Some people will look at your channel subscriber level, and they'll judge based off of that. And the thing is, like, it's not that they're saying it to you, but they're not responding. But then if you have a colleague that has a lot more subscribers and then they come on there, it's like, oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. I mean, like, of course that's an aspect, but that's why I'm using Savvy as an example, because like, look, people have constraints on their time and they're going to make assessments based on sort of like what is useful, you know, to them. But that excuse just doesn't hold with Savvy. So there's something you asked me a question about whether or not race plays a role. I think that looking at how she's treated in particular, and gender, I would argue, is a real tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, we have to do twice as much to get half as far, and it continues. But I've seen how far you come, and I am very proud of you. And you have done an amazing job. And I thank you for the contributions you have made, and also helping me to observe you so that I could be better.
Well, thank you, JB. That's very kind of you to say, and I am, you know, very glad that Revolutionary Blackout Network is out there, and you guys have been such wonderful allies and partners over the years, and I've learned a lot from you. So thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you'd like to see any more, you can look here. 1.